Guys, let's go back to Miracle World. Back in 1991, I got my first ever console, the Sega Maser System 2 with Alex Kidd in Miracle World built in. I didn't have a whole lot of money, so outside of borrowing a few games that Bedgel had prized from kids at his school, Alex Kidd was it for me for quite a while. But you know what? It was also all I needed, bringing me hours of fun as I honed my run through the colourful stages of Miracle World to a T. In fact, in what must have been one of the earliest Let's Plays, I even used to set up my dad's camcorder to record footage of me playing it, primarily as a guide for friends at school if they needed it. That's some retro content creation. Alex Kidd, also incorrectly known as Alex the Kid by millions of people I've seen online who must think he's related to Billy, first released in Japan and America in 1986, with the European version following in 87. At the time, Sega were in the market for their version of Mario, and in a pre-Sonic world, Alex Kidd was what they were running with. And to be fair, they weren't far off the mark. With colourful lands, catchy music, some interesting ideas and varied gameplay, it certainly was a step in the right direction. Designed by Kotaro Hayashida of Phantasy Star fame, Alex Kidd in Miracle World sees young hero Alex taking on a land that's been overthrown by supervillain Jankin, who's been messing the place up and being bang out of order, defeating King Thunder and chucking his son Prince Eagle in prison. Outers. All this is very bad, but when Alex discovers he is also a son of King Thunder, that's the final straw, and he realizes it's high time to go win his crown back and put right what once went wrong. And so we set off, and man, from the get-go, the nostalgia. I mean, I've not really played this since the months I spent with it when I first got it, but I literally feel like I'm being transported back to Saturday mornings in the 90s. My hand is literally wanting to reach out and hit play on a cassette of Rhythm is a Dancer right now. I love that about these kind of games. But what's it like coming back to this old reliable with aged and much blurrier eyes? Well, I gotta say, not too bad. Alex Kidd still feels pretty good to control, and while there's no jumping on enemy heads, his massive punch makes for a decent alternative. Some may not get on too well with the one-hit kills the game has in store, but it's pretty kind going, and it's not really looking to hand you any unfair deaths. On top of platforming aplenty, they've also got some nice swimming sections in traditional platforming fashion, and some decent additional touches like this cool helicopter. It ain't Airwolf, but it's fun enough. Plus, if your inner Jesse Mack of Street Hawk fame is just crying out for a taste of motorbiking action, fret not, because they got you covered too. Sweet. Oh, and you also get a bow. It all gets a bit planes, trains and automobiles when I think about it. I guess I shouldn't be surprised seeing Alex giving a foul-mouthed tirade to the store owner the next time his bike explodes after hitting an item of scenery and having to trek back to the shop. But I'll stop short at imagining his squeaky voice should any of the enemies attempt to pick him up by his testicles. This video's just taken a weird turn, hasn't it? Anyway, gameplay enhancements for Alex himself comes in the form of various power-ups, such as the ring which enables him to be able to shoot a tiger shot style projectile which comes in pretty handy for taking out foes from afar. And there's also a staff that grants the ability to fly, something that comes in handy when there's a random far off ladder that would surely not be compliant with modern building standards. Other mechanics you find along the way are battles of paper, scissors, stone, and encountering these the first time I play literally made for a game of luck. But it didn't take me long to start jotting down the winning gestures for the battles until I had every game memorized, ensuring I was victorious every time, as the routine only ever changed if you entered your commands incorrectly, thus moving on to an alternate sequence of responses. I mean, the memory of this has long since departed my brain, but it was very cool back in the day to know every winning answer beforehand. That's pro level shizzle. Thankfully, not every boss encounter is played this way, with more traditional style showdowns at certain points, such as this bull who just takes a bunch of shots to the snout to send him back to the pen. Get out of here, mate. The levels are varied and fun, lavished with colour and nice detail as you traverse outdoor areas with Sega blue skies to creepy cavernous labyrinths and towering and weaving castles full of traps. There's certainly not a dull moment, and the difficulty curve is pretty well balanced as it slopes accordingly but not unfairly as you draw towards the end of the game. The later bosses throw a bit more at you too, with the combination of both the paper scissors stone battles of earlier encounters combined with physical altercations as Alex teaches them a lesson for their crimes. These aren't too taxing, and just setting up in a good spot is all you really need to do to repel these fiends. Quite considerate of them since I'm now old and have the reactions of a squashed snail. With the usual twists and turns of any good platformer, there's plenty of hijinks to encounter as you draw towards the end of your adventure, and finishing up the story greets you with an obligatory save princess and little more than a blurb about how things pan out. Old school games. And without so much as a credit in sight, Miracle World is failed once more. So how did I find it all these years later, I hear you ask? Well, to be frank, pretty darn good. It's true to say that distance often lends enchantment to the view, but to go back to this game again didn't make me feel like my memories were distorted by rose-tinted specs. And in fact, what I found was a strikingly good game that was still full of fun, action, adventure, and paper, scissors, stone. And while a certain blue hedgehog may have pipped Alex Kidd to the post for mascot status, all I can say about his jaunt through Miracle World is that it's still a very enjoyable game that's well worth coming back to even now, and I for one had a great time giving it a bash again. And while the modern Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX might seem more appealing to the young whippersnappers of the day and is for all intents and purposes a decent game, I genuinely prefer playing this Master System original. It's bright, it's bold, it's fun, it's Sega. And as you know, around here, that's what we're all about. I'll catch you next time, gaming guys and girls, and keep it locked here on Gaming for Ages for more retro goodness soon. Laters.